everyone, it is Brittany from The Pretty Plus. It has been a long time since I've updated, and I can't think of a better time to do that than the beginning of a new year. I'm a huge proponent for New Year's resolutions. I think it's because I'm a New Year baby, so I was born January 8th, so I'll be 33 this year. Yeah, I think that the new year for me feels like that fresh like reset button. And I know a lot of people feel differently about that. Like they get kind of, I don't know, maybe they're discouraged or they're just over setting goals, but I love setting goals. So that's what I'm doing. And this year, one of my goals was to create more content because um, if you guys haven't followed along, you don't know me or my story, I have been a blogger and creative for over 10 years now. And within the last 3 years, I've added 3 children to my life. So Clara is 3 now. And then she was our first. And then we just had twins in March of 2021. And that was a huge roller coaster. So it's been a lot. 2021 was the really rough year for our family. 2020 wasn't as bad, where a lot of people thought 2020 was the worst and 2021 was miserable for us. But there were a lot of great things that happened as well. And I'm going to share today all the Mason family updates that you need or don't need, and give you guys a heads up that I plan on posting more often. And hopefully the uptick of posting in the beginning of the year will just carry out throughout the year, and we'll see more of each other. So if you want to see what we were up to in 2021, hear all about our nightmare year, then stay tuned. Okay, you're here with me now. Again, I was pregnant in 2021 and I had a twin pregnancy and they were identical twins. So if you don't know anything about twins, which I didn't before I got pregnant with twins, there's 3 different kinds that are the most common. And we had the middle one, which is still pretty difficult pregnancy. So our twins are mono-di. So they had separate sacs. Wait, no. They had one sac, but there was a divider. I don't remember. Now I can't even remember what it was. But they are identical. So they split from one cell. We didn't do any in vitro or anything to induce it. It was just spontaneous. And we planned on adding one more child to our family. So that already started out the year being kind of crazy with us knowing that we were going to have 3 kids when we had planned our whole lives together, 7 years at that point, together, knowing we wanted 1 or 2 children. So that was a big change. So they were due in May, and I ended up, long story short, I'm not going to go too far into it. I ended up in the hospital because our baby B, Beck, he was not having great cord flow, so he was considered small for his gestational age, and they really wanted to keep monitoring that just to make sure that the cord flow didn't reverse and have to do an emergency C-section. Come to find out, about a week after I had been staying there, I had some pretty onset severe preeclampsia, and I had to deliver the twins at almost 33 weeks. It's 32 weeks and 6 days. And so they were almost 2 months early. And so then the next part of that is that we had a long NICU stay. So they were born healthy, 2 little baby boys, Pierce and Beckett. And that was a joy part of our of our year. I mean, they're awesome. They're great babies. They're funny little kids who are just their characters growing. They're 9 months now, so they're super fun. That has been a light in our year because the rest of it has been, as I said, kind of rough. So yeah, they delivered early and then they were in the NICU for a long time. So Beckett was smaller. He was 3 pounds 10 ounces, and he was in the hospital for 53 days. And then came home on a heart monitor, which we actually ended up ditching pretty quickly. And then Pierce was 4 pounds 7 ounces, and he ended up coming home after 47 or 48 days. 45 days. It was 45 days. And so we had a long NICU stay. We had a NICU stay with Clara, our first. So we kind of knew what to expect, but it was grueling in the midst of COVID, in the midst of my husband switching jobs, like, previously, not too far ahead of that. And it was a lot. It was very, very difficult because the first time when we had a NICU stay, first of all, it was only 18 days. And we both stayed at the hospital the whole time with Clara. But we didn't have any responsibilities at home. And my husband had like paid leave during that time. And we could do that. With the twins, we were not able to do that. We both had to come home for our mental health, honestly. And because we had things here. We had Clara here. We had things to take care of. And so we didn't stay the night with the twins like we did with Clara. And we stayed in our bed, which was actually a lot nicer than sleeping on the couches like we did before. So yeah, long NICU stay, that was a rough spot. But again, bright, shiny spot. The biggest, brightest, shiniest spot was the twins. And then our other shining star was Clara, obviously. Going from age 2 to 3 has been really, really fun. She is a character in herself. She's like spunky and like quirky and stubborn and strong. And I can't explain her. If you don't know her, then I feel sorry for you because she's honestly the coolest person I know. She's my tiny best friend. And yeah, she didn't have anything crazy go on in 2021. I think out of all of us, she probably had the best year. And she kicked ass. She's an awesome little chick. So have to brag on her as well. Our other 2021 problem was this humble abode that you see. It was a freaking nightmare. I say freaking, I wanted to say the F word, but I didn't. And I usually would. I'll get back into it. I'll get there. But we basically did like a whole remodel of our house. Not really. That would be nice. We should have done that. But I'm probably gonna forget some things while I'm telling you this, but basically we got the twins home from the NICU and we had like money that, we had saved money while they were there. And I wanted to put nicer floors in our living room, dining room, kitchen, through the hallway and into the bathroom. And I got a quote and ended up they quoted me like $5,000 to do the whole area and the luxury vinyl plank stuff so that we would have a clean floor that's easily cleanable for potty training, messy kids, stuff like that. And I also just think it looks really nice. Our carpeting in there was cream, which was not great for children or our black cat or anything like that. So that's what I wanted to do, and it's something that I wanted to do since before we moved in. So we finally had the money and I was like, okay, we're gonna do it. It ended up being a nightmare. Like, I don't remember exactly how much it was that we sunk into it after all was said and done. I think that the floors by themselves ended up costing like $7,000 because there were like layers of flooring and the subflooring was off. And in the bathroom, they basically had to do like everything from the subfloor up because it was all water damaged. And then the bathroom ended up costing us more money because we had to put a new vanity in. We got a new toilet before that. So we had like $3,000 sunk into the bathroom before that because of issues. Well, 2,000. 1,000 of that was in the basement. But hi, Joe. What was I gonna say? Got a new vanity. As I was driving my brother's truck home from getting the vanity at Lowe's, I think, it fell out of the back of the truck. My brother and I had to pick it up. Luckily, there was some guy who was like pulling it out of the middle of the road, and he helped put it into the truck because I couldn't. And he was like He-Man. I don't know how he did it, but anyway. Luckily, stop, Joe. Luckily, it was not damaged too badly. Like the corners were like had like road rash, and then the backsplash thing was cracked in the middle, and I tried to get them, that just made me think of it. I tried to get them to send me a new one saying that it was already cracked, and they never got back to me. Anyway, shiesty, but it didn't work anyway. But you can barely notice it. It's not a huge deal, and it looks really nice in there. So the bathroom now looks really nice. But that the whole ordeal ended up costing us like 10 grand instead of 5, and I feel bad because it was all my idea to do this floor stuff. It is what it is. I kept saying that like this year to Brett, and he's like, stop saying that, but really I can't say much more. So yeah, it doubled the cost. It took 2 weeks to complete versus the 2 days that they said that it was going to complete. And basically our bathroom has like a mini remodel. We just need to do something with our shower now because they put the wrong kind of tiles in the shower, and that's what's kind of leaking. So I need to caulk them, and then eventually the next people who move in here probably can replace them because I'm not going to do it. And then what was I thinking? Oh yeah, we finally decided to tackle the basement leaking issue in our house. Our basement has leaked. The people who owned this house before us basically tricked us. They said that the basement was waterproofed, and it was not. It had been it had been painted over, water everywhere. So we ended up going with an indoor gutter system, and I'm not going to explain it. I'll link below if you want to like look up what that is. But it cost 10,000 bucks for us to do. Just imagine that. And then now it's not working. It's like a nightmare in itself. And hopefully tomorrow we have had issues like it's more wet in our basement now than it was before. So hopefully they can get that fixed, and I'm not paying another dime toward it. They're going to have to figure it out because it's not my problem. Okay, anyway, so yeah, that was a sinkhole. And then one day the room that I'm in is called the breezeway. It's between the garage and the like actual house. It's an addition that was built like 40 years after the house was built. This is where I work, my office area. We have a couch over here, and it ends up being a catch-all because the garage into the house, right? And so I was working on cleaning it up because we had like storage stuff in here from the basement and everywhere. And so I was cleaning it up, and I got it like pretty cleaned. And then I was dusting over here. You can't see it, it's like over here. And I poked my hand through the termites. I saw termites, and I was expecting the worst. I was thinking like we're gonna have to tear the whole house down, build it up again, at least this wall, and then it would be spread everywhere. But we were lucky that it was localized to this spot. So I need to have someone come repair the trim that is no longer there. But we had Terminix come out, and they got rid of the termites, and they're doing like maintenance on it. It's like 2 grand for that. It's spread throughout. I think that's like how much 2 grand will be how much it costs for like 2 years. So one initial year, and then the next year of like follow-up maintenance. And then they want you to do maintenance, like them coming to spray every month for like ever. It's guaranteed as long as you do that. But we don't plan on being here for that long. So we'll see what ends up happening. But I know we'll do it for at least 2 years if we're here for at least 2 years. If not, we will figure out a way to give the next people that option, transfer it or something. Anyway, so yeah, I'm trying to think if there were other things. That the house was probably the biggest issue besides like the health ones, because like as far as health goes, I was pregnant and like not doing well for the first few months of the year, and then the twins were born. They were in the NICU. In July, Beckett was readmitted to the NICU. He had just rhinovirus, but he had preemie lungs, so they got pretty they just couldn't handle the cold, and luckily it wasn't like RSV or something. But between the twins, and yeah, mainly the twins. Claire really didn't get very sick. Um, they were sick all the freaking time, and then when they weren't sick, someone in their class was like like they were a close contact for COVID or something because they're in daycare, or the daycare had to close down, or Claire's class closed down. Basically, for the second half of the year, I had the twins home with me and Clara a lot. And for November into December, it was constant. I think there was like a 6-week period where they had only gone like 4 or 5 days out of that whole time because daycare was closed down. Then we had COVID and all of us got COVID. Clara didn't have any symptoms. She was fine the whole time. She didn't get tested. I don't think she had COVID, and if she did, she was an asymptomatic person who had COVID. I was pretty bad, like really bad, to be honest, but I didn't need medicine like the antibodies or anything like that. I ended up, it was like 4 days for me and I was fine. And then I had some like breathing issues for another month, but pretty good. Brett got it pretty bad. He couldn't smell or taste. And Beckett and Pierce had it. Beckett had it and he was over it pretty quickly. And Pierce was pretty bad. He was right along with me. We were pretty miserable for a few days and we didn't leave the bed. It was rough. So we had a lot of healthcare woes. And then Clara's had her own type of thing going on, trying to potty train, that like toddler diet where she doesn't want to eat any fibrous foods. So we've had that kind of issue going on, but things like that seems to be resolving itself. We just got so busy and everyone was so sick, and I just wouldn't make her like eat fiber or like I wouldn't like press eating, like trying new things or eating vegetables or eating applesauce or anything. I just was like, whatever will keep us alive is what I'm doing. And yeah, it ended up all working out. But yeah, so our health was a lot this year, as a lot of people's were, and it wasn't like I can't complain too much. We're all alive, we're all healthy right now, but it was rough. The first part of the year, especially with the NICU stay, the hospital stay for me, NICU stay, and then the last part of the year with COVID and just all the random kids sicknesses, flu and all. They had hand, foot, and mouth. Claire didn't get that either. It's so confusing. She must be immune to everything. And then yeah, so I'm done talking about all the crappy stuff. We also had some good things. I was lucky this year, and in years previous as well. I had 2 employers, so I got a new job in the middle of the year. But the first part of the year, when I was dealing with I was at the doctor at least 2 times a week, more like 3. One of them was in Carmel, which is like an hour south of us. One of us is in Lafayette, which is like 30 minutes north of us. Like I was just back and forth with doctors all the time, and my employers were so loving and caring and flexible with me that I was really grateful. I worked at a bank previously, and that had never been my like dream job. It was something that like I was in like a transitional phase in my life, and I wanted something really steady with good hours that I knew that I wouldn't take my work home with me. And it filled that for me. I was there for, I want to say like 4 years. It was 4 years, yeah. And I loved it, and I do finance stuff for my blog, so it tied in that way, and it was really cool to do some of the volunteer work that I did with them. It was a great job, and I would recommend it to anyone, so I don't want to discount that. That was an amazing opportunity. But after I had the twins, I went back to work, and then just one day my feeling was like, I want to do what I love doing, what I'm passionate about doing, so blogging. But I've always been like, I guess, scared to take a leap where I'm the only person that I'm depending on, or like I'm a one-woman show. So when I saw an opportunity with 1909 Digital pop up, which is where I work now, it honestly aligned with how I was feeling and my expertise and experience so well that I thought this is my job, like this is the job for me. So it was a friend who posted it in my Facebook group, Indie Blog Society, if you're local and a blogger, that I was like, okay, I want this job. And so I applied, I did the interview, and I thought, like, I knew that the job was an amazing fit, but it was at such a weird time for me that I was like, I thought that I bombed the interview, but I knew that I had a good rapport with the people who were interviewing with me, and I had a great time talking to them, so I was just really hopeful. And they told me the turnaround time was going to be like a week or something, and I think it was the next day they offered me the job. So I got that, and then so my deal now is that I work from home and I do marketing, digital content, strategy, project management stuff, and it is my full-time gig. And then I obviously still have the Pretty Plus, this that you're watching right now, which is my goal, to work on this more and apply what I tell my clients to do to this. That's kind of hard to do, but if I didn't have this job for the second half of this year, I don't think that I would have made it out of 2021. I honestly think that having the flexibility and the backing for my mental health and my family first, like my day job's whole mantra, family first, health first, mental health first, I don't think that I would have made it out of this year. So I think I know my coworkers who were just meeting me thought that I was probably crazy with all the weird things that were going on in my life when I first started. My first week of actually starting, I was in the hospital with Beckett. That's like how things started for me, and it just got weirder. So I am grateful that they stuck around with me because it was weird. But anyway, I'm also really grateful that we were able to keep our finances afloat for 2021. It was a weird year, and we were able to, with just saving, Brett working overtime, some gifts from some really loving people in our lives, government money, assistance that we hadn't planned on gaining because we were never qualified for it, but the twins being in the disabled category because of their premature status were able to afford us some help that we weren't able to receive previously, as well as some government money for like daycare help because of COVID, so pandemic relief. That's been very, very helpful. So we are in a great spot there. Even though we had all the house issues, we haven't like had to like tap into like credit card usage or anything crazy like that. I'll talk more about our budget. I think one of the next videos that I'm filming is about how our finances went for 2021, because I stopped making my budget videos that I'd been making for years and posting every month. It was just too crazy and I just couldn't do it. But I'll have something like that up for you. So our budget was good. And then the other thing is we just had so much time together. And like, I think that everyone in this pandemic state and moment in our lives can just say that, like, with our immediate families, like our closest loved ones, if you have like a family who lives with you, I'd say it's probably isolating for people who live alone. But for people who live with a family, so my husband and my 3 kids, we got a lot of time together that we wouldn't have had before through having to quarantine a couple times and having us all be sick and at home, and us just staying home more in general. So that's been nice. It's not ideal to have a global pandemic or to be sick or to have to quarantine, but it's been nice to get to spend the extra time with my family, get to know my twins as they're becoming humans, and get that extra time with Clara. I've had a lot of extra time with her that I never would have before if it weren't pandemic weirdness, because she's a pandemic like baby. I want to call her a pandemic baby. She wasn't born in a pandemic, but her whole like toddlerhood has been in a pandemic, so she's used to that bubble life, and it's been really cool to get to see her learn and grow when I wouldn't normally have been able to. So that's what I'm grateful for in 2021. But let me be very clear, it was a hot dumpster fire. We had some good parts. Twins were born. Claire was cool. Besides that, hot mess. So this video ran really long, but thank you so much for watching. I hope that you stick around for what I'm calling Clarify You in 2022, because my word of the year is clarity. I'll link that blog post below as well. I did a whole blog post about my word of the year and my goals. And if you enjoy videos like this or want to learn more about my family and what's going on, then please subscribe. You can find me on the internet at The Pretty Plus on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. As always, thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.